Assalamu alaikum students, my name is Dr. Irum Qureshi and I welcome you all here. Today the topic of our discussion is Introduction to Biostatistics and different types of data. Okay, now what is biostatistics? Bio means life and statistics means science of facts and figures. So, biostatistics is defined as collection, organization, summarization, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of health-related data. There are two types of statistics. One is descriptive statistics, in which we collect, summarize, organize, and simplify data in the form of tables or graphs. While the other form of statistics is inferential statistics, in which we draw samples from a population and different studies are carried out, and then we conclude or interpret results from those studies, and these results are generalized throughout the population. As you all know, statistic is any single observation of an individual or any single finding of an object. For example, 5 to 6 feet height is a statistic, while parameter is any mean value of the population. Characteristic is defined as a feature, quality, or of a person, for example, height, weight, BP, etc. Constant is a term which is defined as any fixed quantity that has a single value known as constant. For example, pi, meter per second square, etc. Variable is defined as any characteristic whose value is different from one individual to another. For example, height of schoolboys, weight of schoolboy. A variable is any characteristic which is measured or observed. In inferential statistics, as I've already told you, that we draw samples from the population because we cannot get data from the whole population. A sample is a subset of a population and it is representative of the population. It has all the characteristics of the given population, and then we conduct studies on that sample. We gather data and then we organize and simplify that data, and we draw inferences and make conclusions, and then these conclusions are applied or generalized throughout that population. This is known as inferential statistics. In other words, you can also say that testing of statements about the population on basis of sample characteristics is known as inferential statistics. Inferential statistics involved hypothesis testing. Okay, now what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is a statement which is arrived at after a set of observations, and the purpose of inferential statistics is to make decisions about population and its characteristics. Okay, now what are the uses or application of statistical knowledge? It is used to define the nature and extent of illness in the community, and it is done through collection of reliable data relating to illnesses. This directs attention of health authorities to the existence of problems and their extent. It allows comparison with other public health problems so that necessary control and preventive programs could be extended and funds can be allocated accordingly. It is also used to find the causation of existence of the health problems. After it has been defined that a particular problem exists in the community, it becomes necessary to find out the causation of that problem. Therefore, further information is collected from the community about its sickness, to study various factors inherent in human population and the environment. Through analysis of data, it becomes possible to ascertain the cause for the prevalence of disease. Thus, statistics give guidance to the health administrator to institute proper health measures. To assess the success or failure of health measures after the programs have been instituted, it becomes necessary to evaluate periodically to find out whether or not the funds allocated are properly spent. Therefore, statistics acts as a yardstick not only to measure the extent of the initial stages but also to measure the degree of achievement during the course of a program. Biostatistics is also used for research purposes. What are the differences between a population and a sample? Population is the complete set of all the subjects, and it contains all members of a specified group, while sample is a subset of population. It is a subset that represents the entire population. The measurable quality of a population is called as parameter, while the measurable quality in a sample is called as statistic. In population, reports a true representation of opinion, while in sample, reports have a margin of error and confidence interval. Here in this figure, you can see a sample drawn from a whole set of population, and you can see that a sample is representative of the whole population. Data is defined as the collection of observations in a scientific way. When data becomes meaningful, it is called as information. Different sources of data include census, official records, published papers, NADRA, which is National Database Registration Authority, birth and death record register, surveys such as demographic survey, nutritional survey, etc., and immigration and immigration. There are different types of data. It is divided into two basic types. One is qualitative or categorical data, while the other is numerical or continuous or quantitative data. Qualitative data can be further subdivided into nominal or ordinal data, while quantitative data can be further subdivided into continuous and discrete data. Continuous data is further subdivided into ratio and interval. When the data is arranged in categories and there is a gap between two values, it is called as qualitative data. It is further divided into nominal and ordinal data. Nominal data, as the name indicates, the categories are only distinguished by the names and labels and cannot be classified one above another. For example, gender or sex, such as males and females. One can write green, blue, red as categories as well. Other examples are types of blood, race, name, name of country, name of crops, type of blood groups, gender, etc. While in ordinal data, as the name suggests, when the categorical data is arranged in ascending or descending order on the basis of their quality, the data is known as ordinal data. For example, grades in class such as A, B, C, and tumors, grade 1, 2, 3, different types of hypertension and severity of pain. The other type of data is quantitative data, which is also called as numerical or continuous data. When the interval between two values can be divided into infinite intervals, the data is known as quantitative data or continuous data. For example, age, weight, height, hemoglobin, blood pressure, blood sugar levels, etc. Continuous data is further subdivided into ratio and interval type. In ratio, there is a scale with two 0 points. Here the measurements are on actual scale. For example, 4 meters is twice in length to 2 meters and 60 years is 6 times more than 10 years. So length and age are ratio scale if measured in meter and years respectively. Most of the variables in nature are examples of ratio scale. For example, age, weight, blood, temperature on Kelvin scale, hemoglobin levels, urea and blood sugar levels, etc. The other example of continuous data is interval, in which the categories are arranged in equally spaced units and there is no absolute 0 point. For example, temperature where 0 degree centigrade does not mean no temperature but is equal to 32 degree Fahrenheit or 273 Kelvin. So the temperature in centigrades is an example of interval. The other type of quantitative data is discrete data, in which the data is transformed into different groups, such as birth weight of infants. A low birth weight is marked if it is less than 2500 grams. It is labeled as normal if the birth weight is 2500 to 4000 grams, and it is overweight if the weight is more than 4000 grams. The other type of data is called as primary data, which is directly obtained from the individual, for example, in census. Secondary data is obtained from some outside source or indirect source, or data has undergone some statistical treatment. For example, when we are considering hospital records, other types of data are group data and ungrouped data. Thank you.